Welcome back to this F1 25 My Team Career Mode. This is part number 32 today for the beginning of Season 3 2027 in-game. And this is a big one for Aarava Archer Racing, as I'm really hoping this can be the season where we aim for multiple podiums, multiple wins, and maybe a first championship. You know, drivers or constructors or both. That would be really great. We've got a stellar team lined up for this one. I'm really happy with our drivers, with our car as well, which is looking fresh as ever, as you guys would have seen if you watched the pre-season episode that went out 2 days ago. So be sure to go check that out if you want a more thorough, in-depth look at what's happened from the end of Season 2 to here, the start of Season 3, because so much went on over the winter break. I talked you through in depth into how we went about designing this brand new livery for Season 3 and using the decal editor as well, as it's a lovely, happy blend of a modded livery and using the in-game fictional sponsors, which obviously on this year's game do actually matter in terms of actual tangible income. And also, you know, like many of you guys, I've grown attached to some of these fictional sponsors, trying to unlock the variants and such. We've also got a brand new set of overalls, which is a nice stealth mode in black and fluoro to don Ollie Behrman and Tim Tramnitz in. Yep, Tramnitz continues with this team. He is part of the lore of this team on F1 25, and we've got a young Brit alongside him with two new helmets for both drivers and a whole host of driver transfers and new liveries for the AI teams as well. Now, there were so many insane and surprising AI driver transfers this time round from Season 2 to Season 3 that honestly you really do need to go back and watch the pre-season episode to understand the context and the story we're giving to each of these transfers. And I did see a few comments. Make no mistake, guys, I didn't affect any of these transfers. Every single one of these transfers the game has done, we haven't been able to mod custom transfers for about 2 games now. These are all from the game, and I am simply trying to craft a story around what the game has given me in my save file to try and immerse you guys and, you know, make it make sense basically in the best way possible. So there are so many different left field stories that we've had to try and make work, but I think we've done so in an eloquent way, along with a different livery mod and new UI mods, by the way. Shout out to Mark Felix, who I've worked with plenty of times. Link down below in the description to check those out. But yeah, it means that going into this season, the AI, all on their own, again with no mods, Ferrari look to start the season in a very dominant position, having improved their car vastly. But we have framed their very left field driver choices of booting Leclerc, the reigning world champion, and after Hamilton retired, we've framed their driver choices as, you know, potentially Ferrari broke the cost cap last season. They've been penalized, a private agreement with the FIA, and it means they've had to cut costs in the driver department, but they've still got a rocket ship of a car. So the interest is going to be, will that lineup be good enough to carry that car to race wins that it should be getting off the bat? As we focus on ourselves, though, we drown out the noise right now, and we're looking inwards into some owner training, and we're going to try and go deeper down into this channel on the owner training, because eventually, if you go 2 upgrades down, I think we finally get to maybe boosting the engineering staff hiring, which I still want to focus on. And still to this day, it's been an enigma of trying to get that hiring process as high as it can. And the reason why I care so much about long-term play of getting these things ready, because by the way, if you didn't know, EA and Codemasters are investigating the Phase 4 upgrades not working right now in My Team Career Mode. So the hope is, down the line, as has been the case with the recent patch where they've changed the R&D rates, etc., that that there will be plenty of longevity of this series and this career mode, and therefore I'm going to care about having this team prepared for like a, you know, future season 4, 5, 6, because we hopefully will still be playing this series with as much enjoyment as we are now when those fixes are eventually made. And the rate we're playing at it's working out quite nicely, actually, that we're seeing the benefits of these patches going into a brand new season today, for example. Now, going to the R&D management side of things, before the first race weekend, we did have a regulation change over the winter break for just seemingly tire wear on the chassis side and then the IC on the powertrain. So we did quite a lot of work to adapt, I think, pretty much most of the parts. I think there was maybe one or two that we did not adapt, but the thing is, it's not like you have to research those parts. We simply have to redevelop them now at this point of the career to then use them again. So that's why we've got 3 things to develop on the powertrain. We won't have time to develop all of them in time for Australia, so there will be some compromise made there. For the chassis side, we will have time to develop that final bit that I think was left over from adapting. So the way I've understood it was I didn't fully adapt everything, but we are just having to redevelop them now at the start of the next season, which is obviously an area they're changing with the patch, where now the reset into a new season will happen so much later. So there are going to be so many more parts you're going to have to develop in the new season and play catch up, and therefore hopefully in future seasons there's going to be more variety and bigger shocks and changes of the R&D pecking order, because right now everything stayed quite similar apart from Ferrari out of nowhere just like doing some bonkers upgrades. So to be honest, it has been quite different in that kind of situation. Like, I didn't see that one coming. What we did see coming was this pit crew training coming in. Number 1 done. We will do some more down the line, but I just want to see. We will do some more down the line and purchase another one, but we're also looking at some other further facility upgrades as we try and push on to phase 3 in the personnel and just, trying to spend some of this 50 million, because it's almost like I can't spend it quick enough, basically, with the constraints of the number of facility upgrades I can make at the same time. And in terms of R&D as well, eventually we will get to a point where we've got nothing left to do. It's not quite there yet, but I imagine by the halfway point of this season, we might have fully maxed out the car of where it is at this point, and then we're kind of having to wait for the patch to fix phase 4, and then hopefully there'll be some more areas to upgrade, basically. But up till then, I don't think we're going to have a problem, though. I think we're going to still be pretty damn competitive. It's just a case of, can we bridge the gap a little bit to Ferrari, or are they going to start pulling away? Because ultimately, I think their car maxes out higher than the My Team car, and quite a few of the AI teams do max out higher. So, food for thought later down the line. But right now, we get a brand new secondary sponsor, and we talked about having a throwback nod with our overall designs being like the ones I made in F1 2020. Who remembers this sponsor? This, Indlovo, they were the first sponsors that we had on F1 2020, I believe, weren't they? I swear they were one of the first secondary sponsors or main sponsors that we had in the My Team career on F1 2020. So I thought that was pretty cool that finally, I was wondering if they would come up ever, and they finally come up as a secondary sponsor. So we had to get that on the car straight away. Also, one of their 3 of their logo variants are really cool with the contrasted white and then off red. So that's going to be perfect to use, because we've been loving the kind of red logos to offset against all the white, black, and fluoro. But I just thought that was really neat. For those of you as well who've been watching me for that long, you guys enjoyed the overalls being similar, and now we've got one of the original sponsors we had in that series back now here on F1 25. But just a quick little edit on the decal editor. We're also swapping out one of the front nose sponsors to put in Lovo, because I thought we'd just try and get as many placements on the car as possible to try and boost the variant progress happening, because I believe the more placements you have, the quicker it happens, basically. So trying to push that as much as we can, and we are going to now see developments of some of our parts come through. Chassis fine. We had a failure on the powertrain side of things, so that's a bit frustrating. So 2 of those parts aren't going to come in until the Japanese Grand Prix. So out of the 3, we only got 1 of those upgrades done on the powertrain. I say upgrades, we already had them researched, but we had to redevelop them. So we only got 1 of them done. So we're going to see a small uptick in performance added to the car before Melbourne, but maybe not the maximum potential we're hoping for, as before we get towards the race weekend, already we're talking and maybe looking at drivers, because that's how early these things start sometimes in F1. And a lot of you guys pointed out, and I didn't mention it because I wanted to save it for this segment of this video, but yeah, if you noticed, George Russell did indeed become a free agent, which is ridiculous. I cannot believe it. He nearly won the championship and he's now not got a drive on the grid. That's pretty crazy. He's 92 rated, costs a bomb though, 32 million. So yeah, a lot of you saying surely he has to be a target. I'm not going to dedicate one of the slots to him yet. I want to see how the first few races go, if there are any standout drivers that I want to go for. We're already talking to Antonelli because we have been for the whole game, basically. It carries on, so we'll keep him on the back burner as ever, but we'll see how the first few races go and see if anyone stands out. But this is what the R&D chart looks like, and this is what the performance comparison looks like. So we are second place. We are the quickest of the lot, the rest of the pack, basically. Ferrari out there looking to dominate at the start of this season then, but we are ahead of everyone else, which is an amazing position to be in. McLaren, Red Bull, Mercedes so close together. Aston, Williams very close, and Haas maybe together with Renault as well in there. So it's going to be a very competitive grid. You've got BMW and Audi, the two new brands. They're the back markers. Then you've got this entire chunky midfield, maybe including us at the very top, and then Ferrari in their own world. So let's see how it goes. I'm hoping, with their weakened driver lineup, maybe that's the way us and other teams are going to start attacking them. But for this first race of the season, I was tempted to drive as our new signing Ollie Bearman, but I want to pay it forward to Tim Tramnitz, and I want to start the season with Tramnitz. He's effectively the more senior driver in the team in terms of experience with this team specifically, and we're going to have to wait till next episode to drive as Bearman as our debut driving the sim. Let's get into qualifying.
Hello everyone, it is time for qualifying at one of our very favourite stops on the calendar. It's Albert Park, and we're about to take the cars right up to the edge.
Brand new season, and hopefully you guys will appreciate a little freshen up in the com box there, with Alex Jakes now being our lead commentator in this series for the intros to quali and the race as we get prepared. And I love that overall, man. I love the overalls we've designed for this season. The stealth, it just works really well, and I love this new car. This onboard is pretty. It is really good. I'm a sucker for contrasting colors everywhere. The halo, the middle of it contrasting to the chassis. Then you've got the fluoro stripes, a lot more prominent now on this season's car compared to the previous ones. And all the new sponsors we've added on as well with the decal editor. The duotone logo just works so well either side of the halo pillar, in the same way like the Red Bull logo does. So yeah, I'm really loving it. Tramnitz, slightly different variant of his helmet with the fluoro not carrying over to the top of the helmet. It's its original grey and paint splattered number on the top end. So yeah, it's a nice refresh visually as well, and performance wise I'm hoping so too, with Ollie Bearman on his debut first session in anger up to P4 there. But some wild lap times, as usual. The simulations on F1 25 with the lap times when you load in from the end of the session to this screen are sometimes bonkers. Or maybe that's just how dominant Ferrari are going to be this season. 1.7 seconds quicker than Bearman. Esteban Ocon is in the Ferrari. If that is anywhere near where they're actually going to be, that's a bit scary for the start of the season. I'm hoping not. I'm hoping there's more to come from Bearman, from ourselves, and from others, as we of course made it through into Q2. Wasn't the most electric Q1 lap time for us, but we're still getting to grips with the car, because every season, even though it's the same chassis, it always feels different to drive. I genuinely believe that. Season to season, even if you don't change the engine, it feels different to drive. Of course, from season 1 to season 2, we did change engine. We went Honda to Mercedes, and I noted the car felt a lot more stable, like the power delivery, the engine braking was so stable compared to the Honda. But this car, now with all the upgrades added on, like the ones we were even, trying to readapt basically, with that added on, it just felt like a different car. Like it felt unstable again, a bit more like it was in Season 1 where things were on the edge a little bit. You had to kind of dance around the grip. So maybe we've got a little bit of a diva of a car on our hands, but sometimes the divas are the quickest cars. It's about taming that car over the course of the season. We've seen it before with, the Mercedes, of years gone by. We've seen it this year, I suppose, in a way, with the McLaren, with Piastri getting to grips with the McLaren a bit quicker at the start of the season, but now they've tamed it a little bit more for both drivers. So it happens in real life, and I think I like to think it definitely does happen in the game. At least I feel like it does for me when we play through these careers multiple seasons. Well, we're through into the top 10 shootout along with Behrman, and first laps on the board. He's gone quicker, but we're on a scrub set of soft tyres. Now we've got the new set of softs on. We're in P10. I was expecting that, but it's now trying to find the time to catapult ourselves up. Doohan's done really well in the new Renault team to be up here in the first place. Tsunoda for Williams as well. Norris for Mercedes as well. Lone Wolf, the two Ferraris in, two Red Bulls, both us AAR cars as we dance it through Sector 2. It's a purple middle sector, a little bit of understeer through the final corner as we run to the line. Behrman P6 at the moment. We cross it. We get ourselves up the order as high as third place. It's best of the rest because it is no surprise. It is a front row lockout for those dominant Ferraris. Even with Albon and Ocon at the wheel, that Ferrari is good enough to lock out the front row. So honestly, maybe Ferrari, maybe cutting costs wasn't such a bad thing for them. They created a rocket ship, and they also now don't need to pay their drivers as much, because Leclerc was a lot of money that now McLaren are paying a lot of money for. And I mean, to be fair, for McLaren, there's good reason to pay him that much money because he's the sole McLaren up here in P6 and he's the reigning champion. But it really, really solid qualifying for us in third place because based off Q1, I thought Behrman was actually going to give us a run for the money, but he just couldn't find a whole amount of time by the end of Q3. But I think it will be a different story come the race. Hopefully, we have some good race pace in there. It's going to be interesting to see how the tyre wear is as well with the reset happening. Let's go to the grid.
No more testing, no more practice. This is the real deal. And it's make or break here at round one of this year's Formula One World Championship. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Alex Albon will lead us away from pole position, with Esteban Ocon alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Tramnitz, Verstappen, Oscar Piastri and Leclerc, Behrman, Norris, Tsunoda and Jack Doohan, Sainz, Stroll, Andrea Kimi Antonelli, Aaron, Pepe Marti, Colapinto, Liam Lawson and Pierre Gasly, Maloney, Hadjar, Hulkenberg and Gabriel Bortoleto completes the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track. Hello everyone, welcome to the commentary box. I'm Alex Shakes and we say hello to Naomi Schiff. It's difficult to know to keep what you have or to go for something new, but this team will have a new driver on the grid for next season. That's our main headline today.
Yeah, it's a really aggressive decision, and to announce it that early, I guess you kind of raise the question, why did they do it? But this is a driver that's really sought after, so I kind of understand why they would want to bag that driver as early as possible, but hopefully for them that doesn't cause too much distraction and they make sure they keep their team right now motivated until the end of the season.
I have absolutely no idea who Alex Shakes and Naomi Schiff were talking about there with regards to already having made a driver signing for the following season, Season 4. Maybe they meant into this season. They got it. Someone got it done early. I mean, we're focusing on BMW, but obviously they've got more worries at hand with their actual car. Them and Audi have some serious work to do to be anywhere near the rest of this grid, and we all have work to do to maybe be near these prancing horses ahead of us as they lock out the front row. But it's a clean slate. It's a brand new season. You just never know what is going to happen in this first race. It's a stab into the unknown, and you can never just count on how qualifying went. There's going to be some surprises as always, and here in Melbourne it's a great venue for a first race of the season, a fan favourite as we get ready to go towards the start of the 2027 F1 season here. A season that I hope is going to be a very important one in the history and lore of this team on this game. As 22 drivers rev up, looking towards 5 little red lights, and they're off, and we're on the way for a brand new season in this My Team career. The Ferraris boxing us in. It's been a good initial start, but they've worked as a team, both new to the team and great synergy, you got to say, actually. So maybe this was a blinder move by Ferrari to sign Ocon and Albon. As we try and dive back down the inside, we're going to get the elbow out and fully squeeze out the Frenchman. And Ollie Behrman, oh my word, he's nearly got up to P3 there. Behrman, multiple overtakes off the start there. Incredible stuff for our new driver signing as Albon streaks away in the lead. We've done very well to separate the two Ferraris because I really thought they had it all covered, but Ocon left the door open and we went down the inside in the same way that Behrman went down the inside with bloody Max Verstappen, of all people, the 5-time champion in this alternate F1 universe, of course, won in Season 1. Leclerc is the current reigning champion. He's in P7 in the McLaren. Behind is the man he replaced, Lando Norris in the Mercedes, getting overtaken by doing one of the home favourites in the Renault, the new yellow and blue Renault, harking back to their iconic colours from the championship years with Fernando Alonso doing on the outside, and Lando is going to have to give up the position. The Renault flying up into P8. This could be very interesting if Renault have joined the party once again after their fall off in Season 2, as we defend Ocon with all our might for now to hang on to second place. But let's take a moment and appreciate this start from our new signing, Ollie Behrman. What a getaway this was. He's overtaken one of Leclerc there. He's now going to keep his foot in, overtake 2 on Oscar Piastri in the Red Bull Ford. There's going to be the second Red Bull coming up now. He dived down the inside. He basically followed us through, and it was a copycat sort of move, and he nearly made it 3 and 4. Couldn't quite make the 4th overtake, but he's made 3 overtakes in one sector off the 5 red lights to get up into P4. What a unbelievable start for our new signing, as on lap 2 now, the reigning champ Leclerc in the new red and white McLaren colours, all new chassis for this season, gets down the inside of Piastri and gets up into P6. It's all kicking off as Norris gets back around the outside of Doohan, and the Renault is back down to P9. Tsunoda sniffing around in the new Williams livery, another retro little nod to days gone by of former glories. Let's see if Williams and Renault can lock in together and climb up the order this season as Gasly and Aaron fight. So the two teams are locked in together in this race, at least. Doohan and Tsunoda and Gasly and Aaron, as Ocon is going to streak by. We're deploying all the battery, and it's just a simple case of that Ferrari. Once it had DRS there, it got me. And you know what? We're under pressure, and I'm going to give way to Ollie Behrman right now, because I just got the vibe that he was so quick right now at this first phase of the Grand Prix. I wanted to see what he could do, basically. You know, give him a bit of a trial run in free air, as Doohan is now re-passing Lando Norris for 8th place. Those two are fighting so much that they are forming a little bit of a pack with Tsunoda, Sainz and Stroll. I wonder, does Stroll have anything in his back pocket to take that McLaren a bit further? Because it should be where Leclerc is, of course, mixing it up with the Red Bulls instead of being caught behind the Mercedes. But they're all very, very close. And, well, these two teams are very close at the back, BMW and Audi. Unfortunately, we probably won't be seeing that much of these two new car brands in Formula 1, or newer car brands in Formula 1, as BMW did used to be in the sport. But yeah, they just need a lot more upgrades. I really hope those two AI teams can buck up, because it would be a travesty if we don't see them even just fighting for some points, you know, at some point in this series, as the fighting continues between Renault and, well, now it's Haas actually, as Antonelli is trying to defend Pierre Gasly, who's shaken off Aaron. And now as we transition towards lap 6, maybe a bit of tyre wear coming into play. There was a R&D reset on the tyre upgrades. We adapted every single one. Maybe some other teams didn't, because look at where Doohan Ocon is now. He's dropped off a cliff into P11. The Renault maybe seemingly didn't adapt every tyre upgrade. The Mercedes maybe did, because Sainz has made his way up to P9, and now Doohan is a bottleneck for Lance Stroll and his own teammate. Gasly was miles back, and he's caught up to his own teammate now. Maybe that's inexperience as well from Doohan, but I think it also could be tyre wear, you know? I think that is maybe affecting some of these AI teams that maybe didn't adapt everything, because it's not a given they'll adapt everything, so that could be a bit juicy. Meanwhile, up at the sharp end, Ollie Behrman going from strength to strength, gets down the inside, he's up into second. Vindication from my decision to let him by, because I'm nearly 2 seconds off the pace compared to Ocon, but Behrman has just got up into second place. He splits the Ferraris as it's devastation for Max Verstappen, going slowly, cuts the corner at turn 1 because he's about to park it up, and it's going to be a retirement for the first race of the season for the Dutchman, and it's an unhappy beginning to this season for Red Bull Ford. Piastri, the only car left in the fight, and they're not going to be the only ones leaving Australia a bit disappointed, as Yuki Tsunoda is going to suffer even more dramatic engine failure, and he was running in the points. He was Williams' sole points runner, so that's going to be even more frustrating for Williams. You know, they lost Albon, their other big breadwinner, to Ferrari, so Tsunoda really probably is going to be their only point scorer for a lot of the season, and they've lost him in this race, so it's double jeopardy for Red Bull and for Williams. But, I mean, going back to this, I cannot believe Behrman. What a start to life here at Aarava Archer Racing. Ocon gets him back, which maybe was to be a given. You know, the Ferrari, it's so quick, but the fact Behrman's mixing it up with Ocon is really promising, and, you know, I'm 2 seconds clearly back, more so now, 3 seconds back I am on lap 11, as I'm feeling tyre wear. Even though we've adapted every tyre upgrade, I feel like this car doesn't have any of those upgrades, because what is this tyre wear? It's so high. Oh, what? We've got a puncher. We've got a puncher because of the tyre wear and going over the curbs. That is crazy. What is going on? I thought we adapted every upgrade, but clearly not. I don't know if it's a glitch, a bug, that the adapted upgrades aren't working, but this tyre wear is ridiculous. It's basically as bad as it was in Season 1, which makes me think it's a glitch. Slow pit stop, of course. We did the pit crew training, and we still got a slow pit stop. To be honest, I think it was because of the left rear, which was the punctured tyre, so maybe it was always going to happen because of taking off a punctured tyre, but what is that? I honestly felt like the tyre wear there felt like our very first race on this game in this series, which leads me to believe, is there some sort of glitch going on where my adapted upgrades haven't actually come through, which also could affect the engine department, like the speed of the engine. So that's one to maybe keep an eye on. That could be devastation for us in this series. We're going to have to watch out for that. But for now, we focus on just trying to make the most of this undercut and pushing on. Catching up to a very intense battle between Stroll and Doohan, and going over the curb that got us that puncher just a moment ago, trying to go for a bit of a switch, but Stroll nearly breaks our front wing. Not for the first time has Lance Stroll held us up as a car out of sync of our pit stop. What is going on? It's just too much of a coincidence right now. I have a feeling he's got a bit of something against us, the AI specifically, as we go for the move now on Doohan. I mean, I hate to break up what was a great fight, but we've really got to get a move on and try and use this clean air, because we got a slow pit stop, so we've lost a bit of time, and I do think we can get a good undercut going on Behrman, on Ocon maybe, because they're not coming in yet. We have come in, obviously on lap 11, they're still not in, so it's been about 4 laps by the time they'll come out from their pit stop. So that's a massive undercut. Obviously, it's going to help them maybe later in the race. I don't really know what the tyre wear situation is for them, but all I know is we're setting a fastest lap of the Grand Prix, and we are absolutely flying through these cars that have yet to pit. So I get the sense, I don't know for sure, but I get the sense that no one's tyre upgrades have been applied properly, or something's going on. At least with our car especially, but, you know, a lot of people going long, but being very, very slow. So I just don't know. But we've made the undercut work on our own teammate. We haven't quite got Ocon. If it wasn't for the slow pit stop, we actually maybe could have been level pegging with Ocon as he came out the pits, which is a bit frustrating. But after the amazing first stint, we've gotten comfortable with the car, a little bit more into a rhythm, and we have managed to pull it back on Behrman. But that just vindicates, you know, it was the right thing to let him go in the first stint, let him have his fun, see what he can do, because then we got comfortable in the second stint with the undercut, and now we're back ahead, and we're not holding him up either, and he's not going to hold us up, etc. So I think it worked out for the best, and now we're having a look at Ocon on lap 18, 11 laps to go in this one, and this car is coming alive on the hard tyre. We're feeling a lot better on the hards. The tyre wear is definitely not as high on this compound compared to the medium, and so let's put the pressure on the Ferrari and try and break up this 1-2, and then we can see what we can do on Albon, because there's a bit of clean air there as we now open DRS. Slingshot pass on the right hand side, very fine margins to Ocon's tyre and the wall on the right hand side, but we're up into second, and we've saved battery on purpose to use it after we overtook Ocon, because now I can try and break DRS and focus on just getting the lap times in and seeing what we can do, catching up to Albon, as we've got Sainz trying to defend Antonelli, or overtaking Antonelli, I should say. Actually, he got up into P8. Antonelli was actually doing so well. He actually was right by Piastri when Piastri came out the pit. So Kimi was very much out of position, and now he's getting absolutely done. So I think the Haas is facing a lot of tyre wear, and Lando Norris is as well. The Mercedes is in for a second pit stop. Is that, I think? Did he go medium? So Mercedes going quite aggressive with their new signing, Lando Norris. With Sainz, they're doing a one-stop, but definitely team to team, everything's not quite comfortable when it comes to the pace and the tyre wear over this race. So it's going to be interesting to see how it unfolds through the season. But what I'm getting the gist of is that it's not quite the same as last season, as Gasly goes round the outside of Sainz and gets up into second place, doing now pressurizing Carlos Sainz. And look at that, Lando's already caught up as well. So Lando's made that extra pit stop and has caught up to his teammate. I think it's an extra pit stop, as Doohan goes round the outside. We were literally mocking Renault for their tyre wear earlier, and now look who's laughing. Renault P7 and 8 right here in the new yellow-blue colours, as Norris gets round the outside, and Sainz is completely falling off the cliff. With only a handful of laps to go, though, it's too late to bail on to a second stop. But right now, we're locked in. We're catching up to Albon. I think the Ferraris are also not loving their tyres too much. Albon slams the door shut. We nearly got put into the wall. We had to let off and really back out of that one, but now we will commit to this next one. With DRS open, we fake to the left, go to the right. The Ferrari gives no room on the racing line. That's fine. He leaves the door open on the inside, and we've walked on through it. But Albon is measured and calm and patient with this switchback, and he's come back at us at the second last corner. Side by side, the Ferrari gets the elbow out. We try and hang it round the outside, but the Ferrari ultimately has the better line. And annoyingly, he's absolutely played us. Albon has played us, because we were side by side, and now he's ended up with DRS twice, but he's the car ahead. I mean, fair play. He absolutely did us there, as now the tyre wear is creeping in for us as well, but clearly the Ferraris are feeling it more, because we've had some electric pace, but this is also just us maybe making that little bit of a difference here around Albert Park as we now go through on the left. It was the move I wanted to make previously, but the Albon gave us no room to work with. This time we do get the move done on the racing line, then that allows us to be in ahead of Albon. But annoyingly, again, he's got DRS. He's now behind, but we saw how quick that Ferrari is with DRS. So we are going to be a sitting duck. I'm deploying battery, but it's no use. He's through on the inside. We've squeezed him, though, to compromise the corner, and we've managed to stay ahead because of that. But for how long can we hold this up on this same lap now. Look at the tyre icon. It's orange. Albon coming through. We're deploying all the battery we can. Albon hits us as he comes through, showing his frustration in the cockpit there. As we're on to the last lap of the race, it's getting intense. The tyre wear is ever increasing. We're up to an orange icon, and Albon sideways as he goes through the left-hander. You can tell that something is definitely different here in Season 3 compared to Season 2 when it comes to the tyre wear, and everyone is suffering equally, it would seem, as we have one last shot maybe at going for the race win to the opener of Season 3. Down the inside we try it. Albon gives us a bit of room to work with, but then absolutely squeezes us. Albon playing it so clever. I can't even knock it. He opened up the door, he gave us a bit of hope, and then shut the door completely on the exit of the chicane. I can't even argue that. That was done beautifully by the Ferrari. And Alexander Albon, on his debut for Scuderia Ferrari, he was going to win it here, down under. We're going to come home in a podium, though, for our first race in Season 3. We'll take it. We can build on that. We can build on that. And we need to take solace that we were that close to getting a win off the bat. GG's to Albon's, though. Albon's AI. I mean, 89 rated. You can see why. That was actually very clever driving from Albon to keep the race win.
What a drive! What a performance! What a victory for Alex Albon!
Well, they kept us guessing during pre-season testing. We all wondered who it was going to be, and to have them drawn out here today, that they are the ones to beat, just goes to show that all the work they put in has really counted.
So much to talk about. We will continue to do so, but first it is time for the podium. And what a moment for Alex Albon, who's taking to the top step.
So the reigning Constructors Champions, surprise, surprise, they win the first race. Actually incredible. Ferrari in the game here, they're doing things that the real team could only hope and dream of, even with two new drivers. Double podium. Leclerc who? Hamilton who? Looks like Ferrari is set maybe for their new era, it would seem, and we're set for our new era. Behrman P4, it's a real solid result. I mean, I'm still so impressed by that first lap from Behrman. If that's a sign of things to come, I think we've chosen very wisely the driver we've signed alongside Tim Tramnitz, and we are in for a lot of fun this season. And you know what? The fun continues here. We've won the rivalry with Williams. Finally, we can maybe have a new rival in the game, and we've beaten Williams because they were nowhere today. And so that's going to get us a heap of fan rating, and we're going to be up to fan rating 6. What a way to kick off the new season. Mental stuff. That's really great. So guys, if you have enjoyed this first episode of Season 3, then be sure to hit the like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're around here, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.